Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling with myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. And as you can see, I have not come alone today, for I have Mike Santana with me, TNA superstar, back in TNA, the House of Glory World Champion, absolutely killing it in HOG. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Having a good day. Pretty solid and busy, daddy duties and stuff. But other than that, man, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we can catch it like everywhere because TNA in the UK here and internationally, we've got it on TNA Plus. There's the Zone, Insiders
Yep,
on YouTube, House of Glory, of course, on Triller TV, formerly Fight TV. Which I mean, there's a lot going on. There are TNA weekly on a Thursday. You've got Against All Odds creeping up on the 14th of June,
yep,
Slammiversary on the what I think it's the 20th of July, which in 48 hours became TNA's highest selling show in 10 years. And also,
yep.
you've got as well the big Puerto Rican weekend this coming weekend against Amazing Red. It's after a tough couple of years. It must be good to be Mike Santana right now.
Oh man, I feel absolutely amazing. To be honest, like this is the most fun I've been having in my career so far, and that's saying a lot, man. I've been blessed and thankful to have done so much in my career and been a part of some awesome things and historic, like history making things. And just the past few months, man, have been insane. And I'm just blessed to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm having the most fun ever. And yeah, I feel like I'm brand new again, man. And I'm just getting started. That's the exciting part.
I think it's I'll bang on. It's not just a thing to blow smoke. Like anybody that watches any video that I do on What Culture Wrestling here, any chance
Yeah.
I get, I'll bang on about like don't sleep on Santana, man. The dude has got the sky is the limit as a singles. But obviously, you made
Yeah.
your big return at Rebellion back in April, answering Steve Macklin's open challenge.
Yep.
And that's been brilliantly detailed, I guess you could say, in the Immerse documentary that's been put onto YouTube a couple of days ago, which is just go out your way to watch that if you've not. It's like 23, 4 minutes. It's just,
Yeah.
it's brilliant, man. How did that return come about to TNA? Because obviously you left AEW early in the year. There was rumblings, maybe
Yeah.
WWE, maybe TNA. Pretty much it seemed like you had your pick of where to go next. So why TNA? How did that happen?
It everything happened honestly pretty fast. Like I've said before, I've always kept open ear and connection with a lot of guys at TNA. I had a lot of friends here, and I've always been one to always keep my ear to the ground and make sure that I know what's going on. And any professional wrestler that's in the business should always do their homework and always stay connected to whatever's going on. Just because there's so much now, right? Like there's so much wrestling and so much going on. So I've always been one to do my homework and stay in touch with everyone. And I've always loved what TNA has been doing throughout the years that I've been gone, and they've gone through such a huge transition and so much talent, and it's just been awesome to see their growth and progression. And yeah, when everything happened, I mean, once it got leaked pretty much that I was no longer with AEW, I plan to like just keep it to myself for a little bit. And I did wait maybe like a week before I said anything myself. But yeah, everything happened pretty quick, man. Like when everything got leaked, you know, WWE reached out. Like so I've spoke to some people there, and then I spoke with people at TNA, and like everything was great. Every conversation I had was great with everyone, and but I felt like I still had some unfinished business to do at TNA, and it was somewhere, after having a lot of the talks, like both of our mindsets were in the same place. And it's a great place to grow and to prosper. And I feel like when I left TNA the first time, like we left there with the company being at such a height, right? I
Yeah.
felt like I wanted to come back and contribute as much as I could and continue that hype train, man.
Yeah, man, it's like you've got my notes here. It's like I've unfinished business. It's like literally a phrase I've got like typed up here.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess is it fair to say that like Macklin was like the ideal opponent to come back against because you two are
yeah,
just like as it's shown in Immerse, you two are just these two tough as nails, hard asses, hard hitting badasses. Obviously, he's a former world champion. You're coming in now as
Yep.
a singles to establish yourself as no, this isn't the Santana you've seen before. Obviously,
Yep.
LAX, Pride and Powerful, we've seen in AEW. This is like, no, this is Mike Santana singles out. He's just taken out a world champion. Obviously, the stuff with Macklin as well, it kind of lingered on, and the Rascals are there at the moment. So was Steve like an ideal person to come back against?
Oh, it was the perfect person to come back against. Just like me, he has a huge chip on his shoulder and he feels like he has so much more to prove, even though he's a former world champion, like you said. He's the type that I have a lot of respect for him because him, like me, we're constantly chasing growth, right? And constantly chasing progression. And he's someone that I know that every time he comes to work, he's coming to work. He's lacing his boots and he's ready to go. So I think it was the perfect guy to go against. And like you said, we're both very similar as far as our stories go. And as you saw with the Immerse documentary, he's part of a former tag team, same here. And like our stories are very similar in a lot of ways. And sometimes like, that makes for great storytelling, And I think it was great, and I look forward to continue working with him down the line, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, like you've kind of alluded to there. It seems like there's a little bit more, again, unfinished business with Macklin. As mentioned, the Rascals. We've got Against All Odds on the horizon, so who knows? And Slammiversary. But who else is kind of in your crosshairs right now? Obviously, there's the aim is for any singles act is to get to the top of the tree, the top of the mountain. Moose is the world champion. But then you've got like someone like Josh Alexander, who you have fought before, but he's like almost like a gatekeeper. He's missed the TNA these days. But you've got Speedball, you've got Nick Nemeth who's coming, Matt Hardy's back, Frankie's there, Kazarian, Eric Young, EY is still there. I mean, dare I ask, do you believe in Joe Hendry? There's a lot of on the table there.
Yeah. There's so much talent, man, and that was another thing that I was like, man, coming into TNA, like it's a huge challenge for me because I'm going against some of the best guys in the business, and I'm excited. Like I wouldn't say that I'm particularly looking at anyone right now, but right now it's just everybody. Like I've always, told myself that if you want to be the best and you want to be at the top of the game, then you need to go against any and everyone. And I've always been one that I take something away from every match that I have. So like all the names that you mentioned, I'm sure that when the time comes and I step in the ring with them, it's going to be, I'm going to take something away from it. You know what I mean? And I'm excited, man. It's an exciting time. And like you said, I've been doing so much lately and traveling all over the place and wrestling everyone, all comers, man. Like, again, this is like the best time I'm having. So I'm excited for what the future holds.
It does. It comes across, just talking to you now, and just again, obviously watching the Immersed is like you just seem to be like having a blast. And I think one thing that like wrestling fans are really enjoying at the moment is the kind of fluidity, I guess you could call it, in relationship with companies, as in NXT obviously and WWE, NXT and TNA right now is Jordan Grace is carrying that on a back a little bit, rocking it, absolutely killing it in the appearances she's made so far, going up against Roxanne Perez at Battleground this Sunday as we record this. Is that something that appeals to you? That kind of like, there's a few guys over there that maybe they could get it, or is it like, no, I'm just going to focus on the TNA stuff and we'll see?
I mean, of course, I'm always focused on the task at hand, which when it comes to, my home right now in TNA. But honestly, like this is such a great opportunity for everyone involved because there's nothing but growth that's going to happen, right? Everybody's going to grow. Everyone is going to take something away from it. Everyone is going to benefit from it. So I think, what's happening now is an exciting time, and I hope that it continues to prosper and it continues to grow the relationship. And Jordan, man, is killing it. I've known Jordan for such a long time. I've seen her career since pretty much the beginning, and everything that she's done since then up to now has prepared her for where she's at today. So I'm really proud of what she's doing, and man, it's exciting, and I'm sure there's probably going to be NXT people to come into TNA, and more TNA people are going to go over to NXT, and everybody's going to kill it, you know.
Yeah. You kind of touched on before. I don't want to go into too many details and too many specifics, but you mentioned that WWE did reach out to yourself when you entered free agency.
Yeah.
How serious did those talks get? Like, how was it kind of close? Was it just like a loose feeling out from both parties?
Yeah, it was mainly that. It was
Mm.
just, conversation. There, it was nothing concrete. It was just, I guess seeing where both our heads were at and seeing how things go. And yeah, but every conversation that I had was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing in terms of a quote that really stood out to me watching the Immersed, you said, I've got it here. I've not felt that good about wrestling in a long time, which was after the return match against Macklin. And then you said about
yeah,
how you competed in front of 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium All In last year, and this tops that. What made that moment so special for you? Was it the fact that the TNA audience, who obviously had a lot of love for yourself, LAX, now saw you
yeah.
as a singles? Was it just the fact of it was maybe a shackles off that again a singles act? What was it that
Yeah,
made it so
yeah.
special?
It was like all the things that you mentioned. It was, coming back to TNA, that whole feeling, just the story of me leaving and coming back, and the fans being so receptive and so welcoming, and not just the fans, but the locker room and the company in general. Also, it was the beginning of the rest of my career and the beginning of the rest of my life. It was just a new chapter for me that I've been so excited to start. And like Wembley for me was a very special moment, and of course, like it was a huge deal for me. But I looked at it later on, like when everything, like I'd say, like a couple of months later, I looked at that was the perfect closing of that chapter for me. Especially with the tag team stuff. That was the last time that
Yeah,
I was pretty much in a tag team, was at Wembley. And I think that was the perfect cherry on top to the entire tag team run that I had. And everything after that was just the beginning of that new chapter, and honestly, like, again, I said this before, when I was out with my injury and after I had gotten out of rehab, I put together a plan for myself, and everything up to this point that I planned out and that I said I wanted to do, and like everything has been happening, the way I've wanted it, which I'm blessed to say. So, yeah, man, it's great.
yeah. I mean, it is one of the great modern day tag teams. Is whether it's LAX, whether it is Prime and Powerful, whatever you want to go by. And obviously, there was all reports and rumblings and rumors that yourself and Ortiz maybe decided to go your separate ways for whatever reason. But I don't necessarily want to get into that because I don't think that's personal business that's between you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But just in terms of, like I said, one of the great tag teams of the past 10, 15 years almost nearly. And there is the breakup and there is the rivalry, and you guys cutting some great promos. There is the
Hmm.
really good no DQ match, the blow off to it. Was it maybe a little bit disappointing though that it was rather than on Dynamite and on pay-per-view, this was on Rampage, and then there was just the one match and it was done? Because it felt like after all that history, it's like there's a lot more you can do here. I don't know if that was just the situation or
Not my show.
okay.
Yep. It was one of those, like, I'm thankful that I've gotten to a point in my life and in my career where, like, I'd say a couple of years back, that would have, rattled my brain. That would have, because like you said, so much history, all this stuff or whatever. But then it's like, all right, cool. You know,
Yeah.
let's get it over with so that I could start on my new journey and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I looked at it. We had a good, couple of week build up. We had that good match. We let out what we needed to let out, and it was over after that. I wished him the best, and for me, it was no hard feelings, no nothing. Like it was the end of a chapter, the beginning of a new one, and that
Yeah.
was it for me.
It's a really, really sensible way to look at it, I guess, especially when you incorporate Wembley Stadium to it. I mean, if you're gonna
Yeah.
bookend things with that tag team, it's right. Let's go to Wembley. Let's do 80,000 people. We'll have our rivalry. Maybe it's not as extensive as we'd like, but that's it. Now you go off to Mike Santana singles act. But one last question about AEW, and then we'll obviously go back onto TNA and House of Glory. It was a question that I heard. It was Kazarian was on Busted Open last week, I think it was, and he was
Hmm.
asked about obviously like yourself, basically 5 years there. I think you're like 4.5 years with AEW, and Kaz was asked about the positives and the negatives of his time, the takeaways from that spell at AEW. The same
Hmm.
sort of question for yourself there. What for you were the big highs, and obviously away from the injury, what were the lows there?
Um, I mean, the highs were, I'd say for me, like, even though it was a very dark time for me in my personal life, during the pandemic and what we were able to do and accomplish during that time was insane. There was so much change going on. It was so unpredictable, just the world in general, and the fact that uh, the company and us were able to do a lot of special things and a lot of things that like got a lot of attention and we had a lot of fun, and I pretty much look back at that time like, all right, even though I may have been going through whatever I was going through, overall it was like, oh man, we're doing some cool stuff,
Yeah,
and we were on TV constantly. The inner circle was the hot thing, and it was we were having a lot of fun with that. But again, I I've always been very goal driven, and it's like, all right, we're doing this. This is cool. All right, now what's next? You
yeah,
know, and when you start to not see uh, progression and see what's next, then it's like, all right, what are we even doing here? You know what I mean? And it is what it is. Like I at the end of the day, what I can say about my time is that it was a huge learning experience, which I cherish, whether it was good, whether it was bad. Um, I learned. And to me, in any situation in life in general, if you could take something away from it and learn and put it to something down the line, then it's a plus. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's
Um,
good
but
output there.
yeah, like so I at the end of the day, whatever happened happened, and I learned from it, and life goes on, Now it's time to put what I've learned into the next chapter of my life and keep it pushing. I hope, I still have friends there, and I hope that everyone grows and prospers and makes their money, and it is what it is.
Yeah, cool. I'm keeping an eye on time, and we're going to get back to TNA and Against All
Yeah,
Odds and what else is ahead. I do just want to briefly ask about House of Glory because you've been killing it as a world champion. You did the back-to-back
yeah,
nights with Riddle, JT Dunn the end of last month, then crazily flew to the UK to do a couple of shows for Progress. There's been the matches with Josh Alexander, Psycho Clown, Penta,
yeah,
Alex
yeah,
Shelley, the Revolver crossover WrestleMania weekend, and now there is
yeah,
the Puerto Rican weekend. Just before we go back to TNA, very quickly, very, very quickly, because I feel remiss not to talk about House of Glory.
yeah,
But
yeah.
how is it to be given the responsibility of representing HOG as the world champion, and also, I guess, the honor of facing Amazing Red, the founder of the company?
Yeah, it's been an amazing run, man. It's been an amazing time, and House of Glory. I started working with House of Glory back in 2014 when it was a very small company, and they always did a lot to help me out throughout my career. And like when the opportunity arose for me to be able to come back and do something special, then I jumped right at it. Both sides jumped at it, and man, it's been so much fun and representing the company. And I'm a proud ass New York City boy, and like this company is pretty much like at the helm of New York City wrestling, and now we're starting to go on the road, and the fact that I'm placed in this position to represent the company and represent everyone that's there is like it's special, because guys like Amazing Red and Brian Excel and all the guys that came before me, the fact that they see me being able to carry the company and be a representative of the company and a representative of myself in New York City as a whole, like it's a huge deal for me. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And like, again, the best is yet to come. You know, we're going on the road. We just announced Las Vegas. I'm sure we're going to go back to Boston. There's a lot of talks about maybe Chicago. Like, we're going to start moving around. It's going to be a great time, man. So look forward to that. And also Puerto Rican weekend, man. It's the first time anything like this has ever been done. And I'm thankful to have been able to put this together alongside House of Glory and, you know, showcase a lot of Puerto Rican talent, you know, from the past, present, and future. And I hope it's something that we could do every year. That's the goal, to do this every year, because during this weekend is the biggest, you know, celebration of Puerto Rican culture. And they have the National Puerto Rican Day Parade. So, yeah, I'd love to make the event as a huge part of the weekend in general, and continue showcasing what we bring to the table, man, and what we've always showcased, you know.
Yeah, which is a lot of great wrestling, and you do a great job representing that brand, man.
Yeah.
But back to TNA and Against All Odds, which is the 14th
Yep.
of June coming up. Again, international subscribers as TNA Plus. That there is
Yep.
the Zone, and there is Insides on YouTube as well to keep up on all things TNA. But how excited are you for this one? Because like you said, you're basically living your best life in terms of wrestling. This has been the fresh start. This has been, right, let's attack this head on as a singles. Depending where we are with, well, as of this is a Wednesday we're recording, so who knows what might happen on tomorrow's edition of TV. But
This is true.
It very much looks like maybe yourself and Macklin and possibly the Rascals and something. But then there's Slammiversary as well, which is such a massive show. So what are you hoping for from those two shows from yourself personally?
Well, again, I'm hoping to be put in a position where I could give my absolute best, which I know I always will do. And yeah, like the story is continuing with Macklin and I and the Rascals. So that story should be showing its face the next couple of weeks and leading up to Against All Odds. And yeah, Slammiversary is in July. We still got some time to build to that. And yeah, man, it's an exciting time. So everybody watch Impact and see how the story unfolds and how everything goes, man.
Yeah. And just, I guess, a last question before we wrap this up, because I'm very conscious of time. What it seems like the environment there in TNA right now, there's like when we saw the documentary yourself, and it's like Tommy Dreamer there welcoming you backstage and give you a big hug, and it just seems like there was a lot of positivity, a lot of love in that environment. So how's that compared to when you were there last time around? And also a deep question to round things off. What advice would you give to like the Mike Santana who's just getting started 15 years ago?
Woo.
Yeah, man, we're going deep to end up.
As far as the environment is still pretty much the same. Like when I was there, it was a big camaraderie, and everybody was there to push each other and to help each other grow. I think that's the best thing with any company. If you can have a locker room where it's not just about me, and it's about us, you know, I think that's the greatest thing you could have in a locker room. And I've seen that since being back. Like it's the same thing. And a lot of the guys that have been there for a long time, you know, the Eddie Edwards, the Moose, the Josh Alexanders, and guys like that, like
EY,
EY, all those dudes, they protect that locker room, and they make sure that it continues having that kind of atmosphere and that kind of you know, drive, because it's very special, you know. And I'm thankful to be a part of it again, and I'm thankful that they all, you know, welcome me back with open arms, as you saw. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to be a part of it. And TNA is, as you see, it's on to some big things, man, and it's going to be a special time in general, and I look forward to just being a part of it. And as far as the question, man, like what I would tell myself 15 years ago, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, the ups, the downs, the good times, the bad times, everything in between, because that's where the most learning is going to be made. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the journey is everything. Yeah, the destination is cool, but like you're gonna learn to appreciate the destination more when you enjoy the journey and take as much as you can from it. And yeah, it took me a long time to to say that, and especially dealing with my personal issues and stuff like that. But I'm thankful that looking back, like I've had a hell of a career, and I'm thankful for everything that I've done and everything that I'm gonna do. I'm just getting started. I'm still very young. I have a lot of time left, thankfully, and God willing, I could um, accomplish some more great things, man. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
I have no doubt you will achieve a lot in this business. You've already achieved a lot. There's so much more to come. It is just like the
Yeah,
tip of the iceberg, it feels, from Mike Santana. Again,
yeah.
TNA available on TNA Plus, the Zone, and Insights on YouTube, Triller TV as well, if you want to check out House of Glory, which I would highly recommend. Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving up so much time to come and join us. Hopefully, we'll have to do this again sometime in the future, man.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. You take care, and we'll look forward to see you on TNA and in House of Glory.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Awesome.